Hey guys, have you ever thought of taking photographs of mannequins? I know you're thinking, that's kind of weird, right? Well, let's check it out. Let's see what else we can do with that.
Click, 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 click and a pick it. Click, 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 click and a pick it. Click, 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 click and a pick it. Click, click, click.
So for the past 2 years, I've been photographing mannequins. Every chance that I see a mannequin, I'm like, oh, there's one. And I take my shot. And I didn't think much of it until I came back to my editing, and I thought, well, that's kind of a weird shot. It's kind of plain, kind of boring, but what can we do with this? And for me, it's more of what potential is in that shot. Can we turn it into an art form? Can we take it and make it look more realistic? And let's explore that some. We'll go over some of the photos I've taken and also some of the ones that I've turned into art, and I'll show you what that's about, and maybe it will inspire you to take some mannequin photos. Alright, so let's check out our first photo. And so this first photo I'd taken at a department store in the Philippines, and the thing I like about it is I was able to make it kind of soft. And this mannequin has no hair, which is kind of unusual, and it was in the main display of, I believe, kind of a general clothing type store. And my goal with this shot was to try to make it look as feminine and as balanced as possible, to make it kind of have a realistic look. And the weird thing is if you look at this mannequin long enough, it almost kind of draws you in. You almost feel like a connection to it. It's really unusual. And to me, that was like, wow, that's kind of different than just a photo you look at really quick and then go to the next photo. And the bokeh was really beautiful on the background. It's just blown out really nice. So that worked out really well. And this was with a kit lens, believe it or not, a Canon 18 to 135 kit lens. Alright, so let's go to the next shot. So the next shot is also a department store mannequin. Now, the reason I'm showing this shot, it isn't particularly a beautiful shot or a perfect shot. There's a lot of noise in the shot. And part of it is you get a lot of glare when you shoot mannequins in a storefront window, and to get a good shot and to have no glare and no grain, that is really a challenge. The first shot that I showed you was through a store glass window, and this one is also through a store glass window at a different angle, but it just doesn't work out as well. And if there's too much glare, you're not going to get the full impact of the mannequin. So it's a hit and miss. Some turn out great, some don't. But take the shot anyway and take it from multiple angles and see if you can get less glare. Alright, so let's go to another shot. So sometimes I'll turn the photographs into like a black and white. Now, this is a youth mannequin, and you don't see very many of them. So it's kind of interesting. And it almost has kind of like a 1950s feel, even though it's a very modern looking mannequin. So I thought that was kind of unusual. Alright, so we've got, now I take these mannequin photographs and I turn them into art if I feel that there's something that they can offer. I'll play around with it. And so this is one version of a mannequin that I modified the photograph, okay? And I'll show you two other versions of the same photograph. And this is what you can do to make it interesting, to make it unique, to make it your own, okay? And so here we kind of have some different color highlights, and then we have one more. It's almost like an anime type thing, but not quite. And here is a black and white version, whoops, of the same mannequin. And you can see this, to me, I wanted this one to look kind of lifelike. And if you look at it long enough, it kind of feels like it is in some sense. The hair looks really nice, the face looks kind of delicate and balanced. So it's not that mannequins are exciting, but mannequins offer so much potential that just a regular human-faced feature might not offer. And the beauty with mannequins is they're not moving. If you lack people to take photographs of mannequins, because they're a great medium. It gives you an idea of how to frame a shot. It gives you an idea of how to edit when you finally do get those shots. It's a good medium to use for learning photography. All right, so let's go to another shot. So this shot here is kind of my first aha moment. It's like, whoa, look what we could do with some of this stuff if we know how to manipulate and to modify our editing. And this was like opened up a door for me. I had taken this shot was through a storefront window. As I was just walking down the street, I thought, oh, that's an interesting scene. Click, click. And then I get home and I thought, what can I do with this? What can we do with this? Is it just an average photo, or could we actually create something artistic with this? And this is kind of what started my fine art photography business, modifying some of these images and making them unique. And it's like, why not, right? Why not? Why not explore possibility? And that's how Click and Pick It pretty much began for the fine art end of it. All right, so let's do another one. So that one was Distorted Lady. Now, I had taken a photography class at Silliman University, and this was one of the shots that I had taken. I call it ginormous. It's a mannequin reflection in the window, and she's standing in front of this really tall skyscraper type building. I mean, it's not. I guess it's not. It's tall for the Philippines. It's not tall for the United States, but it's tall for here. And it just the juxtaposition just makes her look very big, and so look for unique things like that. All right, and so let's do another one. Okay, now. This next one was another storefront wonder, and her hair looks just kind of hideous. Now the craziest thing, I'll walk down the street sometimes in the Philippines and I'll see these mannequins and they're so unmaintained. They're just blah. Everything is everywhere. And to me it's like, whoa, that looks really weird. I need that shot. And that's kind of like why I'd taken this shot. It's just unique. It's different. And the next one is even crazier. And this one just cracks me up. This one I pretty much call Bad Hair Day because it's exactly what it is. And this is straight out of the camera. I didn't modify this at all. This was in somebody's storefront selling clothing. Now, if you're going to sell clothing, why on earth would you try to sell clothing with a mannequin whose hair is just blown out? It looks like she went for a motorcycle ride. Came back, put on some clothes, and sat down in front of the storefront to sell clothes. It's like, really? Oh, okay. All right, so let's go do another one. Yeah, so after I'd seen this lady with the blown out hair, I'm like, man, I gotta go inside this shop. I gotta see what else there is. And they had 5 or 6 other mannequins. Now this photo, I love this photo because it came from the same storefront. And it came from a different mannequin whose hair was kind of blown out. But I turned it into a black and white, and it kind of gives it an old-time era feel. And it seems kind of moody. So this, to me, is kind of special. I really latched into doing mannequins after I did this one here. And so the art mannequin shots that I've showed you, I've made all those into prints. Now, this is another mannequin from a storefront shot through the glass. And it just looks like the skin is almost real. When I did the editing and I kind of did a soft focus balance, it's like, whoa. And that was kind of my goal, to make it look connectable. You want a photo to kind of connect to you in some way. And if you can make it look realistic when it's not something real, it will have that appeal, that connection. All right, so the next one is, this is kind of a new one that I had done. I just did kind of a crazy edit. There was some mannequins that I'd seen in Dipolog City, and they had like a porcelain glass looking face. And I thought, what can I do with that to make it look colorful, to give it a little bit of vibe and make it vibrant? And this is kind of what I did. I did like a green edit to it. and then just kind of pulled back the different sliders and focuses until I got almost an art type form image. And to me it seemed just really, really different and connectable in an art form way. Alright, so we've got, this one's kind of silly. This I had spotted in a vendor booth in Valencia, and it just seemed like, oh, that's kind of weird. I've never seen a bust of a mannequin just laying on the ground in a stall, kind of half covered in plastic with some colorful stuff around it. I thought, you know what, that's a shot. It's weird enough that I need to take the shot. And so look for opportunities. I've seen people carrying mannequin legs, and I just wasn't in time for the shot. And I've come across some really unique things. And if you do that, hopefully you're in the right place in the right time. This was just one of those examples. Now, one of the things I find is I don't see very many man mannequins. And you would think that there would be more, being a mannequin. And this mannequin man seems kind of feministic in its features, and I wonder if it's also sometimes used as a woman mannequin. I wonder if it's kind of like a dual role mannequin. So there's that. Now, I went to this wedding shop, and I looked in the window, and there was this mannequin, this new style mannequin I'd never seen before, this faceless blob. And I thought, that is so weird, so strange. Is that what we've come to now, where we're so politically correct that we have to omit the face of the mannequins because we don't want to offend anybody? I don't know. I hope that's not what the world's come to, but obviously there's a reason that they've chosen this blank look. And I don't even connect it to a human when I see that. I just see this blob with clothes on it. And so for me, I don't really care for that. Now, this shot has a little bit of grain in it. It was taken through a window of a store that was very dark. So if you shoot a mannequin photograph, it's better if it's darker outside and more lighted inside, because you don't get the glare outside from the glass shining through. Okay, so that's the biggest tip. This one was shot the opposite. It was dark inside and bright outside, so you'll tend to get the grain in your shot. And so this to me, it wasn't a photo that I would use, but it's a good conversation piece because it's unusual. I'm not sure how to digest it yet. I'm still kind of processing that. All right, so this came from a carnival, this mannequin scene, and I heavily modified it. Now, all of the shapes here, they were in the shot. I just added some texture and some colors, and it just made for just a really cool Duran Duran 1980s type vibe. And it's I've never seen anything like it before. And I've been able to just go crazy with the mannequins because there just doesn't seem like a level of what is right, what is wrong, what looks good. There just is no barrier to what you can do to make something interesting. And that is probably why I really connect to the mannequin photography. All right. So this one's actually a fine art print on my website also. Now this is another one taken from the same booth. This lady type mannequin head. And I was able to just really go crazy with this one too. It's kind of a Picasso-ish type with the different shapes and patterns and colors. It's just really abstract. And where are you going to see stuff that's so different like this? And how are you going to create this unless you have like a base medium? And unless you've seen something like this to be inspired, it's hard to come up with a creative medium like that. So sometimes maybe just taking photographs of mannequins will inspire a different, unique type of art form that you haven't thought of in your own mind. And it's worth exploring. Okay. So this is another version of the same type of deal, but with a different scene. And this came from a carnival. It was this hanging on the wall of a booth. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to make that into something really cool. And I did like 3 different versions. And it was for a vendor in the Philippines. And I gave them 3 prints after I was done. I'm like, you know what? I want you to have this. And so they put it on their wall in Canloan in the visitors center. So I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. That's some cool exposure. And it's endless what you can do with these mannequins in your editing. And a photograph can be so much more than just a photograph. It can be a work of art. And that is what I'm trying to show you. When you first looked at the video today, you're probably thinking, mannequin, what can we do with a mannequin? But now I've shown you what I've done, and each one is so unique from the other shot. It's got to spurn some creativity in your thinking. All right, let's see what else we got. Now, the hardest thing to do with a mannequin is to give it emotion, to give it feeling. And this one is the most emotional mannequin shot I have. And all I did was just modify the tones, the shading. I didn't add anything to the structure of the scene. It was all in place. And I was able to bring out this emotion, this energy into this. It's almost a little bit like an anime, but yet it's not. And if you look at it, it looks almost sad. And so, if I never had taken these mannequin shots, I wouldn't be able to offer these thoughts, these ideas, these scenes. So, what can you do to your other photos, your other types of scenes, your other mediums that you can bring these things out also? And that's kind of the big takeaway from this mannequin shoot. What can you bring to the photographic and art community with your photos that you can make more than photos? Okay? All right, so a photo is just a potential, a piece of potential, and you are the medium to bring out the extra avenues, the extra streets that we get to walk down and look at and go, wow, that's different. How did they make that? Where did they get inspired by that? What happened there? And I'm showing you all these things and expressing that, and I'm trying to open up your channel of creativity. So let's do one more or 2 more. All right, so this last one, it isn't a great shot, but it's a weird shot, and it's a shot that I'd taken through a store glass window, and it was too bright out, so the glare was there. But yet it was so weird because you've got this character in the yellow here, kind of right behind her, and it just makes for a really kooky shot. Now this was in Bacolod when I was walking the streets, just kind of window shopping. So take the shot, even if it's not a perfect shot. It's something to think about. Maybe this would inspire somebody else to make some other form of art just looking at this kooky shot. You never know. All right. So unfortunately, it was blown out enough that I couldn't really do much with it modify-wise. All right, so this last one, this is kind of my latest treasure that I discovered. And this I call Mind Blown. And this mannequin was being used on the streets of the Philippines in the storefront, in the front of the store, off to one of the corners. And I thought, that is so crazy. I got to get that shot. And looking at it later, I thought, where on earth are you going to be able to ever get a shot like this? Most people aren't going to destroy the head of their mannequin for this type of a thought, mind blown, right? And to think that it was an actual scene. And I'm used to everything being perfect when I go to a store and I see the displays and the mannequins. And this is so far from being perfect. And I can't remember if it had, I think it did have some clothes on it, so it was displaying something. But yet, it goes to show you that in different countries, what needs to be perfect in some places isn't as valued or as important in other places. And it makes for a unique experience. And for me, this was kind of cool to come across, and it was a great opportunity to photograph. So hopefully I've inspired you in some ways by looking at these, and you can be creative in your own way, okay? All right, guys, what'd you think? Was it different than what you thought it would be? Was it interesting? Was it creative? Leave me some thoughts in the comments, would you please? Let me know if I've inspired you. Let me know if this was interesting. Let me know if you'd like more content like this, all right? And the other thing is, if you liked it, please, by all means, throw me a like, will ya? And if you've subscribed already, hey, cool you. And if you haven't yet, please do. I really need the subscribers. I need to make 1,000 subscribers before I can make any revenue from all this work. So anything you can do to get me people that would be interested in this kind of content would be great. All right? So thank you very much, and let's grow together.
Click, 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 click and a pick it. Click, 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 click and a pick it. Click, 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 click and a pick it. Click, click, click.